Okay. Welcome you. I just welcome you all to this wonderful flagship event. Thanks for your patience. I guess it's got delayed by some time and because of unforeseen traffic. So before we start, it happens to be our 6th anniversary as well. So the ceremonial lighting of lamp would definitely take place before we get started. Now for the ceremonial lighting of lamp, I would like to call my parents. I guess they have been instrumental in guiding me and the organization from the support which one can only dream of. And I would like to call them on stage. Please. I would like to call Mr. Prabdeep Singh. He is the director of iTech Canada, and he has come for this event all the way from Canada, so we welcome him as well. And to our guest of honor, Mr. Amulya Shukla, who actually we have been lucky enough that he has taken out his time and come from Chandigarh. Please, sir. Okay, this way. Get the slides when I say that. Okay, so to our honorable guest of honor, respected panelists, and all our esteemed guests, and special thanks to the IMT students as well. On behalf of Job Vision Consultants, I welcome you all to our flagship event, The Future of HR Unleashing Human Potential. Now, basically the agenda for this discussion and why we have kept it, because these are actually very, very tough times. If you see the events like Brexit, more of automation, downsizing, the role of an HR has never been greater. Keeping in mind the current trends and scenarios, we bring you this very engrossing panel discussion. The topics which basically we are covering here would be about is automation threat to employment. This is basically related to what we call, let's say, the technology we all love, about the changing nature of employee engagement also, which would be a second topic that would be into contingent workforce. We are very, very lucky enough that we have got esteemed panelists as well to have an engrossing discussion on the same. Before this, I'll just introduce you a bit about our organization, how has been our journey, what we have done so far, what has been our knowledge partners' stake in it, and what they have done. So about Job Vision, it is one of the leading companies that provide talent acquisition solutions to the industry. It was founded by me in 2011, so we have just completed 6 years, as I've told you. And we have developed a strong expertise in recruiting for large and multinational organizations across domains and levels. I think the special credit goes to my team members who are sitting over here. They have been really instrumental in actually, giving their 100% for the organization. And we feel privileged that most of our organization are very, very tenured in the organization. That is something which, for a director, it is a dream actually. So I'm very, very happy, and I think big thanks to them for making this special. we always try to innovate our services, just to stay ahead of time. We just try to innovate our strategies, our different things, so that we can always stay ahead in the market. The values which I am talking about, we as an organization, the first value we definitely get into it is a people-centric organization. We believe being proactive, being progressive, passionate, and professional. And this is actually inculcated to each and every individual who joins our organization. The domains which we talk about is obviously, we started with BFSI, our journey started with BFSI. As I was also, before starting this venture, I was part of Citigroup. So I got that expertise and I started this venture. Then we got into ITES, consulting, healthcare, telecom services, to name a few. Now, as a job vision, we have more than 30 partners across India. We are working hard. We are rapidly marching ahead. And I guess one way or the other, I think it's a kind of a situation which, as a director, I feel proud of. So this is basically our requirement. This is basically what we have done so far. Now I would talk about iTech Canada. And I guess I would definitely like to call Prabdeep on the stage to speak few words about iTech, because that has been his brainchild. He has really worked hard over it. And so Prabdeep would take you to what exactly iTech does, and then probably we'll take it forward. Please, Prabdeep.
Thanks, Arshan, and I want to congratulate him, and I've known him from, what, 1984? That's
85.
The 85, okay. That's the year he was born, so. What Job Vision has done for iTech, I cannot even explain. So, and our success is largely dependent on what Job Vision has been doing and has done for us. About iTech, we started in 2008. We provide custom software applications for steel and metal service centers in the United States and Canada. We're based out of Ottawa in Canada. Our offerings spread through different technical domains. So we do mobile development, we do EDI, we do accounts payable automation, and that's where we kind of fit in today's discussion. And the fact that 90% of our workforce is actually in India, but we are headquartered in Canada, our customers in the United States, so we are working in 4 different time zones with a very tough environment, in the sense that you can imagine how we are communicating in the whole HR, how that sort of fit in there. It's a challenge, at least to say. What's the next slide?
Yeah.
Sorry. So these are some of the services, basically. We do, as I said, we do accounts payable automation, we do mobile application development, we do EDI services, and we do banking integration. So we basically integrate the backends, the ERP systems with the banking. Yep, so that's what iTech does, and if anybody wants to know more about it, just catch me later, okay?
Thanks, Prab. This is, I want to talk about Eka Consulting also. Now, this is another venture which we have just got into. Now, Eka Consulting is basically headquartered in New Delhi. Now, this is basically a kind of a solution which we are providing to the educational institutes, to the candidates. We evaluate themselves to increase their employability. So I guess we all know that, the employability is the biggest challenge in our industry. The people, the MBA colleges, the graduate colleges, so different colleges. There are colleges, but again, that's all a number game. So basically, there what we are trying to fit in. So we are trying to fit in a kind of I would say a kind of an institution wherein we actually provide a platform to mark and try to evaluate people that futuristically how profitable they can be for any of the organization and how ready they can be to be taken by any of the organization. Okay. Next slide, please. So this is basically some kind of services which we do, and there's an on-site evaluation program which we have just started this year, and we basically try to have a system wherein we can have an integrated environment of having an all India panel association, which is actually moving at a very, very fast pace. We are getting professionals from all over the India. So the idea is that our ecosystem, which are our educational hubs and corporates, actually evolve with the passage of time. And that's where our basic focus has to be on this. Okay. So again, to know more about it, you can obviously reach out to me on this. Yeah. So before I start with the panel discussion, now we are very, very lucky that, again, Mr. Amulya Shukla, who is our worthy guest of honor, he is absolutely, I mean, for us, it's an absolutely dream to have him here. He is a physics postgraduate from IIT Roorkee, and then he pursued his advanced studies in mass communication from Indian Institute of Mass Communication. He has a career spanning 25 years. He has worked in corporate world. He has launched his Sambhav, an enterprise in consulting covering 4 verticals in learning and development, strategic consulting, human resource system, and brand management. He is into executive council of TIE Chandigarh chapter. Now, he would speak a lot about TIE, believe me, because he has worked really, really hard for that venture. And he has a chair membership engagement over there. He has been involved in ongoing TIECon 2017, 2016, the mega flagship events, to Lufthansa Railway, to success mentoring camps, to TAB business plans competition. So as a motivational trainer and life coach over the 2 decades, I mean, he has some of the best clients in India. He deals with the motivational training and the life coach, the solutions he provides is immensely helpful for everybody around us. And obviously the passions close to his heart is obviously he is a Jeevan Vidya scholar. He conducts Jeevan Vidya camps, including yoga and living in sync with nature, I guess, which is the most important thing these days. He's creative in writing on various subjects for national newspapers in both Hindi and English. There are hundreds of things I can talk about Mr. Amulya Shukla, but I guess we need to move forward, and I would now like to hand over the stage to Mr. Amulya Shukla. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, friends, and thank you very much. Thank you, Arsh. I call him by his shorter name, and I would not like to be formal and call him Arshdeep. So, we must congratulate him for bringing us all together here and putting up this great event. It's only because of him that we all are here and we are sitting here. And now to invite our esteemed panelists, I would be calling up each of our revered guests one by one. Mr. Rajat Bansal. He is one of the most suited names to be on this panel. He is an automation expert. So maybe because of people like him, we have to conduct this panel discussion. He's worked with multiple organizations like TCS, Sapient, and he's currently associated with IHS Market. His extensive experience of more than 6 years in automation is to provide IT solutions into different domains like e-commerce and automation of their products. And he's worked on so many various fronts of technologies like Chef, Puppet, Docker, Vagrant, which could sound like pets or like breeds of alien kind to you. He's a table tennis enthusiast. So he would be playing something like 20, 22 games in a go on a day. So how many of you can match him? Anybody here? Apart from Arsh, I think. Yeah, because he is also. He plays squash. Anybody who knows how to play squash would know it's a very demanding and strenuous game. Technology is his passion, so he is devoted to automation. So thank you, sir, for making us conduct this panel discussion. Without you, we would not need this. Please have a seat. Fine. I would be calling upon Ms. Madhulika Makar. She is an alumnus of IMT Ghaziabad, and she has, welcome ma'am. She's been into hardcore sales role at Goodless Neurolec, and subsequently she was into banking, Standard Chartered Bank as a relationship manager with the wealth management team. And then she says that by accident, I became an entrepreneur. So, which would be the case with many of us, but then she's honest enough to admit it, I think. So, we appreciate that honesty, and she has been the foundational pillar at Myras Solutions, a boutique search firm, for more than a decade now. And along with her team, she and her organization, they've spread their footprints across India, Middle East and Malaysia, which is not a mean achievement. And they are deeply into the BFSI segment. And she has a futuristic vision of the industry. She's been part of the incubation team of TriEdge Solutions, and that's an online talent solutions firm. And they're partnering with Times Jobs for launching a recruiter skill certification program, post-testing the same on an offline model across 7 cities. So, great job. Gardening is a passion. We have more than one gardeners here, like, so I'll introduce the other one to you later, and I'm also standing here. So, हम लोगों की माली हालत अच्छी है. So, she has the blood of an activist. So, anything which is not happening right or going wrong makes her blood boil. So, she says that I would like to stand for an MCD election and become a councillor. Am I right? So, she has a deep passion for urban problems not being setting right, not being solved and all. So, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for being here, coming on to our panel. Thank you. I would love to invite Mr. Kevin Berger, our another esteemed panelist, who's a professional with a rich experience of some 25 years plus in automation leadership. So, another automations man, like, so please, the credit goes to both of you. And then project management, and has handled different IT applications. He has management degrees in systems analysis and design, as well as computer software technology from the McGill University in Montreal. He belongs to Montreal. Am I right, Kevin? Yes. Yeah. So he hails from Montreal, and thanks for coming over. It's a privilege having you here. He started his career as a software developer, developing active server pages for the database-driven internet applications. And then he moved towards software project management designs, and he's worked in hotel reservation and accounting systems, and has held various leadership positions. Currently, he is working for iTech, which you heard from Prab. He works for iTech as a project manager for software development projects, primarily working with the American clients and a development team based in New Delhi, which Arsh takes care of. And he's worked for Invera, Hilton Hotels, Silver Birch, and iTech. Currently, he says, I'm an out-and-out family man. Skiing, kayaking, and adventure sports are his passion. He runs a lot. I hope you won't run in the middle of the panel discussion. You have to run. Don't make us run. And he's already run 2 marathons. So, anybody who can match him? Anybody done more marathons than him? Not in the school days, now, after being an adult. So, you take the award already. Well, Ash says he also runs. I don't know whether you make him run or he makes you run. Sitting in India, you can make anybody run.
As Prabhu is saying, we work in different time zones. So
that's great. So, thanks Kevin, for joining us. And then we have Ms. Poonam Bharti amidst us, who has over 21 years of HR background experience. She has successfully led HR teams in the pharma, chemical, specialty, and IT services companies, and her expertise lie in change management, organization development, compensation and benefits, organization structure, design, and restructuring. I hope you got that. I didn't. Well, that's on a lighter note, but these are some important jobs which senior executives like Poonam do. In her last assignment, and this is interesting actually, as the head of HR at Ranbaxy, which she left after Sun took over. No, I was there. You were there for 2 years after Sun Pharma took over, and then she has led complex global projects on organizational delayering and spans of control as a director, global strategy. Most recently, she has led global rewards and global talent management CEOs alongside the global HR operations for the company. She has led and facilitated HR integration of 14,000 plus Ranbaxy employees with Sun Pharma in 60 countries across the globe, which is not a small task. In your own family, maybe if you're married, there would be on average 4 people. Maybe you can't lead them to a single destination in a day. If you decide to eat out, there won't be a consensus easily. So leading 14,000 plus Ranbaxy employees is a big deal. Poonam is a Tata Institute of Social Sciences alumni, and she completed her MBA in HR. She also holds a bachelor degree in science. So thank you, Poonam. Thank you for joining. And now I would also take a seat there, and we would throw open the panel discussion on automation. Is it a threat to employment? And let's hear it from who would like to volunteer first? Okay, who votes for this, that automation is a threat to employment? How many of us here vote? It is a threat to employment. Okay, yes. What do you say? First of all, a vote. Do you say it is a threat, or do you say it's not a threat? Not a threat. Okay, so we got it. I knew he would vote for it. Okay. Okay, so Rajat says it's not a threat, and then what do you say, Poonam? Is it a threat or not?
I think in the short term, yes.
It is.
Then it isn't really going to be.
Madhulika says it is, and Kevin, what do you say in one word?
No.
It's not. Okay, so the two automation people say it's not a threat to employment, and the answers are as expected. The World Bank report says that 70%, 69 to be precise, am I right?
69%.
69%, yeah, I knew that 1% would be a concern there. So, like if we round it off, 7 out of 10 people, the middle class and the mass jobs are under a threat because of automation. I'm just sharing with you the statistics which are officially published by World Bank, and our esteemed automation expert accepts that as a fact. So I would like to hear it from you, sir. You please take it off.
Yeah, but I mean, the World Bank has said that the 69% of the jobs are in threat, but still the industry which will be impacted most is not yet decided.
That's true.
So the automation is not a threat, it's threat to people who doesn't want to upgrade. For some people, it's a threat who don't want to upgrade, but for some people, it's an opportunity to upgrade. Yeah, HR who are into the recruitment are facing issues because the companies which are giving them the, let's say, the quota to hire, like they need 5 people or 10 people, that have reduced to, let's say, if in earlier times when the automation was not that much into the picture. So let's say the company had told the HR that they need 100 people, now they are saying they need only 20 people. Because obviously the task of 80 people are into the automation, and company don't need those tasks to be done manually.
So we'll have to bring in the hardcore HR here into the discussion. Poonam, your take. And you can speak anything, like not necessarily what Rajat says or whatever you believe in.
So Amulya knows that I will always digress. Okay, so is it working? Yeah. Okay. So, first of all, thanks to all of you. And I basically, I'm not a subject matter expert on technology, but I do know a thing or two about HR. And I know that for sure that in a short term, unless and until somebody told me that who would have imagined? So, for example, if my great grandfather were to actually, kind of appear in this room, he would be very surprised to see all the youngsters over here having some gadget in their hand. Earlier on, if I was talking in my car to myself and somebody would drive past, they'd probably think that I had lost my mind. But nowadays, everybody understands, that, oh, she must be on a Bluetooth and talking to somebody. We would have never imagined that people could actually travel from one continent to the other. So the point that short point is basically that there is no point in actually ignoring the fact that technology is changing our world rapidly. Okay, relationships are changing, and for a lot of youngsters that I see in the room, there's this massive discussion about millennials, and I'm now talking from the HR perspective, saying that there are millennials, and how do you actually kind of engage them and get them to get very excited about the work. Technology will play a very, very important role. Secondly, this is a generation which is not used to very long paragraphs and sentences, right. Amulya. They will not really enjoy, I still understand my 18-year-old tells me, 17-year-old actually, tells me that, he stops me midway and I said, I have understood. and I'm like, giving him a long, there's a conversation that I want to do with him. And he tells me I've got the point because he belongs to this new generation. So the point is that technology is not only changing the work environment, it's changing the psychology, it is changing relationships. There are many, many dimensions to this technology. So the point is that we have to adapt and we cannot ignore it. On the other side, to say that technology is going to take away jobs, I don't really agree. The only thing is that the flavor of what we do, Amulya, that is going to change. Right. So if you allow me one more minute, I basically want to, kind of talk about it to say that, when they said that HR earlier, what is HR's role? Basically recruitment. We, do this, we recruit people, we train them, we do performance appraisals and all of that. And at the end of that, we know that nowadays there are processes which can actually replace all the HR people. Does it mean that, my profession is going to become extinct? No, it only means that besides doing all those mundane things, I can now actually, or routine things, or repetitive things, or predictable things, I will now move into more value-added things. So my job as a routine punching machine will go, but my job as a valued HR professional in a higher level of dimension will stay. So this is where my take on it, yeah?
A very balanced point, how you presented it, Poonam. Thank you, and I would like to bring in Kevin here. Kevin, what do you have to say?
Well, I certainly wouldn't want to trivialize people's fears, if of technology and automation. It's a real concern for sure. It's not something that I would say doesn't exist, but I think it's more a fear of the unknown, because the reality is, yes, certain jobs will be lost with automation, but it's also, they're replaced by other jobs because technology opens people up for other opportunities. I mean, when we were young, would we have even thought that we would have graphic designers sitting in front of their computers, There's so many opportunities and so many jobs that we couldn't have imagined. So when we're afraid of, okay, there is this evolution through automation, but it also creates opportunities that we don't really know what they're going to be. So I think from that perspective, there is a fear. It's not a black or white situation, but there is incredible opportunity.
A very beautifully presented viewpoint, and how you approached it in the beginning, that you don't want to trivialize the apprehensions and fears, I sincerely appreciate. This would be a noticeable difference in how we approach issues and how Westerners approach issues. I appreciate that. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. Madhulika, yeah, your take, please. Yeah, take this one.
Frankly, when I came here, I hadn't thought that this topic is up for debate. And I'm seriously surprised that I'm the only one who feels that there is a serious threat. So I picked up some numbers. Obviously, I'm not a subject matter expert on this. Airbnb, you all have heard of that? Yeah. How many people do you think it employs? How many people do you think Airbnb employs? 50, okay, a little more than that. 200, so half of that. So about 100 people, 130 worldwide. What do you think is their revenue? 1.7 billion, and they're valued at 30 billion. Okay, you've heard of a company called Foxconn? Yeah, how many people did they lay off last year? Yeah, you've been reading that for your case study. 60,000 people laid off last year. Okay, you look at WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp, I was
40,
wanting to
40
say.
odd employees,
53,
or 50?
I think, 53.
53, and per second interaction on WhatsApp is 2 billion. Okay, so frankly, I frankly don't think there's a debate on this. You know, this is like a second revolution on machines. So agriculture to industrial, and you know, steam machines coming in, and people feeling jobs would go. But this time, believe you guys, it's seriously different. There is World Economic Forum which discusses this topic every year. There is a concept of UBI. Have you guys heard of that? UBI? That's a concept of UBI which has got launched in Finland, Canada also, and probably US is testing it, which says Universal Basic Income, which says you'll just get a salary for not working. Because the kind of social unrest that is possibly going to get unleashed when job losses happen, it is, you know, so Kevin was probably the most polite in terms of how he was referring to things. But it's not a question of flavors. Look at the workforce. What is most of the workforce engaged in? What are you guys are into recruitments? What are people doing? Largely operational work. Yeah, you want to go to your office, you want to do some dumb stuff, and then you want to come out. You love to say that I would want to do higher creative stuff, but who's up to it? How are you differentiating yourself from machines? You are not. You just want to go to an office, you want to do some staid, told to do stuff, and then you want to walk out at 6 o'clock, and then you want to just kind of, you know, do whatever. So as an entrepreneur, frankly, you know, I hit 104 degrees when I reach office, and I want to automate everything. I don't want to see a single human in my office. Yeah, you know, the level of work ethics that I see just takes a toll, and just for that, I would probably want to automate everything. But maybe if I reach home and somebody in my family has lost his job, I would have a very different perspective on this. So the level of automation, or look at Watson, you know, IBM has invested $2 billion, 5 years of research that has gone into it. You read what Stephen Hawking is talking about this stuff, because now you're reaching a tipping point where you will not be able to control things. And there's a philosophy around it. I forget the gentleman's name, a Harvard professor, where he's talking about, you know, there is a decoupling that is happening in terms of the productivity that is coming in, the revenues and the productivity, and the human income that is forming. So as people in the last 10 to 15 years, we've been going lower and lower in terms of income, but organizations at lower and lower level of human, you know, employee base are hitting higher and higher numbers of revenue. So it's I don't think it can be ignored. The numbers are, you know, 70, 50%, 69. It's how you look at it. I think it's a serious concern. It's something that everybody should wake up to and think about.
Thank you, Madhulika. I agree with her to an extent. Well, 104 degree is definitely pretty high, but I knew that, as I told you in her intro also, that all such concerns will make her blood boil. And it's not that it boils for a moment, it's been boiling for years. Just that she doesn't show it, but it's real. It's real, and She took the name of Stephen Hawking. How many of students sitting here do know about Stephen Hawking? Good, good. So that's nice because maybe a movie is made out of it. जब तक उन्होंने किताब लिखी थी शायद सब लोग नहीं जानते होंगे ना. Okay, but YouTube, yeah, maybe. So he talks about artificial intelligence, and then he says that's the most serious threat to workforce and employment, and we are maybe facing a catastrophe. And he would not be wrong. He can see through time, I think. This person who's written a brief history of time, he's not joking. So it's real, and let's have some more viewpoints. Yes, Kevin, please.
Well, certainly one thing I'd like to bring up, we can discuss it, but is there an option? Is there a choice? Do you think we can deny technology and automation? As long as companies can get a competitive advantage, they're going to take it.
True.
And if, say, some socially conscious companies decide, no, it's going to affect our workforces, then they're going to disappear.
Correct. So why does IBM get to decide where the human workforce is, or the humans are going to go? It's not even about workforce. So I think it's time that there is a social consciousness, there's a government intervention, because what is happening? Basically, all companies are driving it, yeah? Higher level of productivity, higher revenues. So organizations are really driving it. So where does it stop? There are concepts around insurance getting discussed, yeah? Insurance for your occupation. So if your occupation gets automated or it's under threat, you actually pay a premium and you're insuring your occupation that, you know, if I'm out of a job. So you really have to innovate. The point is not that, can you stop this? There's no way that you can stop it. But, you know, we're humans. We can be seriously stupid and we can be seriously intelligent. What do you need in a country like ours? Why do you need to have driverless metro? They're already experimenting with it, yes? Why do you have, you know, socially or at a government level, you drive so many initiatives that, you know, this should happen, you know, that should happen. This is facing you in the face. I mean, I don't think there's getting away with it. So why would large corporate organizations get to decide where a human race is going to head? I mean, it's looking that bad. I could apply for going to Mars. So there has to be open debate and recognition. I mean, Poonam can come in on that from an organizational point of view, because, you know, it's quarter on quarter. Most of you are probably not working right now, but you try and be in the corporate sector. Yeah, you want to get to that next level and what? Your life exists quarter to quarter, shareholder to shareholder. If you're a if you're a public limited company, look at what's happening to Vishal Sikka. I mean, look at these huge guys who are so well, you know, you would say that they're well established, they've got their feet on the ground, but it's not like that. Life exists quarter to quarter. So is profit, so, you know, actually there's a very different side to it. I don't know if any of you thought of it. So probably humans would finally stop working for money.
That's what.
Yeah.
Now, this is, so it's clairvoyancy. All of us are coming to that. So it's a social security net which will be provided. You need money to survive the government work.
So two things can happen.
Yeah,
two
please.
things can happen. Possibly, I don't know exactly what will happen, but I hope two things will happen. Either this will become a very, very chaotic and crazy place, and with a lot of depressed people out of jobs, not knowing what to do, or as human beings, if I was to be an optimist and think positively, people will, what I meant by flavor, you know, particularly was that people like me at my age will sit back and seriously do a rethink, saying, what is my value proposition? How is it that I can give? What is my relevance to the society? What can I do? Because, you know, a lot of things which I used to do earlier are not required to be done anymore. So I will actually apply a serious thought to start thinking, what is it that I can now bring to the table differently? So you know, once you've explored the entire, you've gone to the, you know, North Pole, South Pole, you've, you know, kind of gone around the world a couple of times. Now, human consciousness, and sorry, there's a little bit of a spiritual angle to this, human consciousness is expandable, unlimited. Okay? If you have one car, you want more. You have this, you want, you know, so all of us, whether it's in the West or it is in India, it's just the same. It's just the same. And once you're satiated or you realize that, then your consciousness is still wanting to expand. The entire philosophy of meditation is basically that. Amulya, you agree? So we are always wanting to better ourselves. We always look for purpose. We always look for relevance. And eventually what will happen is that people will start looking for other galaxies. What do you think Mr. Virgin Atlantic is doing? You know? So there is space
Madhulika
travel.
has already applied for
There's
Mars.
space travel. She's already applied for. So therefore, what will happen is human consciousness will expand. And of course, Stephen Hawking's dad warned about that as well. He says, you know, beware of getting into touch with the aliens because they're going to come and, you know, kind of do things to you. And I watched that movie, by the way, Stephen Hawking. So I don't want to, that's going to become, I think I'll save this for post-dinner discussion. So he's actually written the entire philosophy, and there's only one man who's capable of thinking the entire philosophy totally backwards and then totally forwards as well. So the point that I'm trying to make is, hey, I don't want to create an environment where, you know, we are living in fear and apprehension and saying, oh, ye problem hai. Let us figure out what is it that we can do about it. So what is it that I can do? So we talked about, you touched upon it, that, you know, 9 to 5 jobs, and I think you're absolutely bang on. People like us who walked out of jobs, not essentially all of us got kicked out, okay? At least she didn't, I don't know about myself. So the point is, we were all looking for something different. We didn't know the answer. I still don't know the answer. I'm going to discuss it with Amulya. That's one of the reasons also, you know, I felt that I want to come and talk to some of you who have the courage to take that one step and move out of a 9 to 5 and do something, you know, which they believe in and find meaning, right? So I disagree. I think jobs of the 9 to 5 will go away. There's this entire discussion. You know, there's a company called Flexing It, called, you know, run by a lady called Chandrika Pashricha. Again, a McKinsey, IIT Delhi, you know, IIT, I think she's Delhi or I don't know, but IIT, and, you know. So good, solid academic background. All the people who started Airbnb or WhatsApp or Ola or Oyo Rooms are all young age entrepreneurs. So what are they doing? They're not conforming to the 9 to 5. They understand technology, they're leveraging on technology, and then they are trying to make something good out of it. That is what I would teach my son. Maybe it's too late for me, but perhaps that is what I would try and teach him. So I and Madhulika were having a discussion saying, maybe nobody needs this face-to-face, you know, because there's tremendous amount of pressure. You know, webinars are exceedingly successful. Earlier on, I never even thought of subscribing to webinar. But nowadays, let's say if we were to do a webinar, I think a lot of people can kind of loop in and interact and ask questions. There's a chat room which is open. So face-to-face training will go away, but something else will come creatively. So I think all of us will free up our time. All the women who used to work and sweat it out in the kitchen have outsourced that activity. Okay, but they are trying to do something valuable. Again, what they feel they can add value to. So I'm of that philosophy and thought.
So that's very nice, and I hope you all will agree that since because of various reasons we had to start beyond schedule and much behind schedule, so we will have to be miser with our words and discussions, and things can continue over cocktails and dinner. So I would now request all our panelists for a soundbite each before we wind up this panel discussion and move on to the next one. So we start with Rajat, please.
Yes, yeah, so I don't think so that it's a threat. Right. But still, I have one last point to ask Miss Madhulika. I mean, she has very beautifully put her point like it's a threat. So she's an entrepreneur and an activist. So Madhulika, I have this question for you. So let's say, I mean, in your organization, right, you have to automate everything, and by just sitting at home, you are getting the revenue, and that revenue you can put into the people as an activist who are not aware of this automation. Now, what will you choose?
It's not an ethical debate. Do I choose to give it? I don't choose to give it. It's completely my choice. Does this create an opportunity for me? Maybe. There is tremendous exponential level potential in whatever is happening. I'm just making a point that it is going to go out of control. The kind of jobs that exist today are largely replaceable, and there is no getting away from it. So it's not a question of do you get fearful of this fact. When we were passing out of our campus, the only thing that troubled us was your finance industry down hai, ya ye isme job nahi milegi. You guys have to worry if jobs are available at all or not. So I mean, to face up to that fact is a must, and you are still a minuscule part of the population. It's not about you being able to reskill yourself and get to a high level. Think about your mates and your drivers and their kids who've really, really slogged it out of government schools, and they think that they're going to get the jobs. Those are the guys who are going to come and get you. So there was this quotation, it says, we've now met the enemy, and that is us. Yeah.
Okay. So,
the most populated country. The concern is real here.
actually, you said it, ma'am. The figures are 69% for India and 77% for China.
Yes.
And that proves the point. So, I would speak at the end. Kevin first.
This mic is hot. There was a lot of,
Oh my God! You.
Okay, this one's cooled. This one cooled off a little bit.
This one could be 213 degrees.
Well, like I was saying, I do believe there is an evolution of what is available. And it's not just for some billionaire to take all the jobs. There are jobs. Just last night I saw something on TV that seemed quite relevant. I know ask all our team, for sure, building systems and building the algorithms for our lives is a lot of work, and there's limitless work. There's way beyond what we can do. I mean, just last night I saw, it doesn't have to be some major golden idea that sells $1 billion. I mean, I saw a story about a woman, a young couple. The woman is a speech therapist. She works with developmentally challenged children. Now, she has about 25 children, and she has a lot of problems dealing with them on a daily basis. And her husband was just taking courses in Android development. And she, of course, told him all her problems and things that she had trying to get these children to behave on a daily basis. And he developed an app so that based on the individual children, where they would see their own faces and they would see, basic things. I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. The different things that because these are extremely handicapped children who had trouble communicating. So he built an algorithm so that there's an application on their phones that they can see and they can communicate with her. Now this is just, he's not going to make $1 billion, but he is, the wife, the speech therapist, says these children, the behavioral problems have diminished greatly and their lives are much better. And there's, I can't even imagine all the potential opportunities like that. And so I think we should just maybe not be totally doomsayers about technology and automation, because there's a lot to do that we can help the world too.
Thank you, Kevin. And Poonam, would you like to give us a soundbite before we wind up?
Keep it short this time.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, how many of you know Nisha Madhulika?
Great.
Good. What does she do? Cooks. What do you know about her background? Nothing? What does she post? So you'll have to tell everybody. Tell us what does she do? Tell the
Please stand
Yeah?
up so that we can all listen to you.
Yeah. She runs classes as well. She teaches people to cook. So for me, one of the greatest realization is that there's a lady called Nisha Madhulika, and maybe I'm actually, I'm not, she hasn't paid me for this. Okay. Ordinary housewife.
Do you want us to believe you?
Yeah, try. I'm from HR. So, ordinary housewife never did MBA like us, never actually went to a fancy place. I don't know, she's probably looks like in her late mid-50s, right? You agree with me? House mom, doesn't have a clear diction, can't really communicate extremely well, but the recipes that she gives, and since I love food and it shows, I've started now actually following it. And I see the number of hits on YouTube. So, I was suddenly thinking, here's a lady, she just has a kitchen and probably a phone camera to start off with. She's not one of those Sanjay Kapoor kind of a chef, but it has created employment for somebody like Nisha Matulika. I think the need of the hour, and as I said, I'll keep it short, the need of the hour is to recognize. I think what she's saying implicit over there is that don't get lazy, don't ignore this, take cognizance of this. But I think what we need to do is now start thinking a bit differently and not really in a unidirectional fashion. So I think the concern is very genuine. I totally appreciate that from the standpoint and from the panel here. The only thing is that there are multiple opportunities. The need is to think a bit differently. And when I look at her website, Amulya, and I'm overwhelmed to see the potential that YouTube has. For me, my entire life has got transformed in last 7 months, right from the Buddhist chanting to cooking to anything that you want to learn. You can learn it on your own as far as there's plenty of material which is available. So there is employment generation there, but a different kind. She cannot probably go to a place and become a chef in a 5-star hotel because for that she'll need a degree. I think what technology has done is from her kitchen, she records something and she uploads it on YouTube. So I think that is what is my submission to all of you and also to the panel, saying that, we have to think differently and capture opportunity. Yeah, thank you.
So thank you for bringing it to that comprehensive and wholesome perspective. And had we started on time, I would have loved to field questions from the audience. But I think that will be eating up into your dinner time. So choice is yours. One question, one dish goes off. So anybody for a question? Any male asking a question, his peg is switched off. So choice is yours. So you can please interact with the panel over drinks and dinner. We are actually pitted against time. So with your permission, with the permission of the esteemed panelists, I would like to sum up the things here so that we can move on to the next discussion. Very honestly, life moves on and it comes a full circle. So our apprehensions and our fears are immaterial in the long run. They are important if they prompt us to take the requisite action. And what action here we are seeing that we can't keep thinking of the routine 9 to 5 mundane middle class oriented mindset jobs. They are definitely not going to stay. So yeah, those kind of jobs will be required where human touch is important, where human care is important, where human involvement is important. If a Boeing or an Airbus gets built in 13 days, boss, none of us can make it. So let's forget that. And if 40 years ago, so many of us were into making of Airbus or Boeing, life will come a full circle. So let's stop thinking of what is not there and what is being taken away by time. So many other aspects, as rightly shown to us, will keep coming up. And if we are addressing so many youngsters here, please don't go out of this room. Please don't walk out of this room with this threat of fear that technology or automation is going to take away your jobs. You are highly qualified, you are intelligent. You just need to think how you can be relevant in the times to come, how you can keep adding value. So we need to think proactive, we need to think futuristic. That's what I can say. And maybe a bit of poetry which can give you some flavor and some energy to wind up this panel discussion. There are some 4 or 5 couplets. Hindi ki shairi hai. आपको एक शेर अच्छा लगे, आप तारीफ करेंगे, मैं अगला सुना दूंगा, आप तारीफ नहीं करेंगे, मैं रोक दूंगा। मेरी शायरी नहीं है, अच्छे लोगों की लिखी हुई है, निदा फाजली की गजल है। सफर में धूप तो होगी, जो चल सको तो चलो, सफर में धूप तो होगी, जो चल सको तो चलो, सभी है भीड़ में, तुम भी निकल सको तो चलो। Kevin will translate it for you later on. So with the permission from Kevin, I'll continue. यहाँ किसी को कोई रास्ता नहीं देता, यहाँ किसी को कोई रास्ता नहीं देता, मुझे गिरा के अगर तुम संभल सको तो चलो। अब आगे जो 2 शेर आ रहे हैं ये थोड़े से गहरे हैं और आपको अच्छे नहीं लग रहे हैं तो मैं रोक देता हूं, तो पता चलना चाहिए ना भाई। That's better. किसी के वास्ते राहें कहां बदलती हैं? So what we were talking here is कि आज की राहें क्या हैं? What are the roads? What are the paths which are taking shape today? राहें नहीं बदलेंगी हमारे लिए, ना हमारे वक्त में हमारे लिए बदली, ना आपके वक्त में आपके लिए बदलेंगी। किसी के वास्ते राहें कहां बदलती हैं? तुम अपने आप को खुद ही बदल सको तो चलो। और अगला शेर है, that is the crux, that is the meat of this ghazal. यहां उजालों की कीमत चुकानी पड़ती है, यहां उजालों की कीमत चुकानी पड़ती है, तुम अपनी आग में सूरज से जल सको तो चलो। So on that note, I would like to thank all of our esteemed panelists, Madhulika, Rajat, Kevin and Poonam. Thank you very much for enlightening us, for adding value to this evening, and thank you. Thank you all.